Evil kings doing evil things. First, alright guys, let's start slow. In the 15th century, life was hard, so you had to be, or at least appear harder. Get to know Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler, Prince of Wallachia. Reign 1448. Vlad III, better known as Vlad the Impaler, mastered psychological warfare through barbaric spectacle. Stuff that's so surreal to experience you cannot do other than spread those experiences. He believed terror was the greatest deterrent. Get ready, here's what he did.
Another day, another victory for the OG.
After defeating an Ottoman raiding party, Vlad impaled over 20,000 prisoners along the road to his castle. Ottoman envoys reported marching through a forest of stakes, rows upon rows of corpses with arms stiff and mouths agape. Nobles who plotted against him were treated privately. Their families were forced to witness the slow agony, a sharpened stake driven up through the victim's rectum, pushing into the abdomen until the sufferer starved over days. Peasants who failed to deliver on grain quotas saw their limbs hacked off and left to bleed. Whole villages would wake to empty fields and rotting bodies. However, Vlad's reign was as much about rumor as reality. Here's why. Whispered tales of mass impalements spread faster than any army. It's estimated that these terror tactics kept Wallachia relatively stable. In this sense, offense is the best defense. Fear, after all, can be a brutal peacekeeper. 2. Moving further by a century, we get Ivan the Terrible, Tsar of Russia. Reign 1547 to 1584. Ivan IV's moniker, Terrible, relates to the Oprichnia, which can be described as some kind of unofficial secret police operating just for the king himself. This police did some gruesome stuff. Let's get through a few examples. In Novgorod, 1570, Ivan ordered the massacre of suspected traitors. Eyewitness accounts describe children impaled on church doors and priests quartered in the altar. Estimates range from 10,000 to 60,000 slaughtered in one single week. These black-robed agents operated makeshift dungeons in the large labyrinth of the Kremlin's basements. Victims were chained to wooden horses and branded with hot irons. Some were left dangling by their thumbs overnight to reflect on their loyalty. In a fit of rage, Ivan struck his son and heir with his staff, fracturing his skull. The boy died days later. Russian chronicles blame a conspiracy among courtiers, but many believe Ivan intended to eliminate any threat to his uncontested rule. By the end of his reign, Russia had expanded eastward, but at the cost of a population living in constant dread of midnight arrests and disappearing neighbors. 3. Moving on, there's Henry VIII, the King of England who tried his whole life to get a heir, marrying like 8 times and beheading all of those wives. His reign was from 1509 to 1547. Henry VIII's court combined showmanship with savage punishment. Let's get right into his methods. Invented under Henry's watch, this iron frame compressed victims, folding them in half until bones cracked. Traitors endured up to an hour of agony, confessing just to stop the pain. Clergymen who resisted the king's supremacy took the treason route to the stake. Some were boiled alive in vats of oil or pitch before being dragged to their peers. Witnesses declared that their screams echoed across London's waterways. Disobedient women, wives, and midwives accused of gossip or witchcraft were strapped to wooden chairs and rocked repeatedly in the flames. The brank, an iron skull's bridle, forced a metal gag into the mouth, preventing speech and sometimes even tearing the tongue. Henry's ruthless campaign to divorce Catherine of Aragon and Mary Anne Boleyn set an example. In truly medieval fashion, he declared that anyone who stood between him and his desires faced a portfolio of tortures perfected over decades. 4. Our last entry is the Belgian King Leopold II, sovereign of the Congo Free State. Rule 1885 to 1908. Leopold II's personal colony in the Congo turned forced labor into a machine of extermination. Soldiers of the Force Publique were ordered to sever the right hands of villagers failing rubber quotas. You're a 6-year-old child, a pregnant woman? Well, it doesn't matter. If you failed your strict quota, you were done for. This happened so often that troops returned body parts in baskets to avoid wasting bullets. Chiefs who resisted had children held as hostages. Villages only complied out of terror. Ransoms were not set in money but in labor. Months of rubber collection under threat of public execution. Officers systematically raped Congolese women. Pregnant women miscarried in labor camps. Starvation was rampant. Workers received half rations while officers dined lavishly. And remember, this is the Congo, so you got a daily temperature of like 35 degrees, aka in American terms it was very hot and exhausting. Consequently, mortality rates increased dramatically. Millions perished from exhaustion, disease, or bullets. International exposés by missionaries and journalists finally forced the Belgian government to annex the territory in 1908. By then, the population had shrunk by an estimated 50%. Leopold's legacy stands as one of colonialism's darkest chapters. Here's something to cheer you up. If you liked this video, I would appreciate if you leave a like and a sub, so you don't miss out on next week's video. Also, always remember, with every video you watch, the more you know. See you next time, have a great one, bye.